By now, very wet Snetterton 300 circuit plays host to what promises to be a thrilling fight for overall and title honours in the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship. Certainly, Michael Winkworth, Class C champion, will have to keep an eye, reigning champion that is, it could all change today, keep an eye on that man behind me, Roger and Vella in that Civic. He'd be hard charging in these conditions. We've also got a two-way fight in both the A and B classes to sew up this afternoon. It's all to play for, and it could all change around pretty quickly with conditions like these.
Well, it's one of the Class A Championship protagonists on pole, Steve Sawley, with Martin Ward alongside, then Phil Wright and Roger and Vella, Christian Lyon and Leon Shepherd, with Oliver Barsby and Alistair Camp next. Ryan Polly and David Sadowski round out the top 10, ahead of John Peerless and Dawn Boyd. But at the back of the grid is Ben Rushworth, championship leader in Class A, by just 11 points coming into this final round. But problems in qualifying mean that he starts 28th and last, whilst the man that he is 11 points ahead of, Steve Sawley, is on pole. So Class A is going to attract an awful lot of the attention in this penultimate round of the 2018 Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship, which roars into life as the lights go away and they scrabble for grip on the run towards Rich's corner. At the back of the grid you can see the black and turquoise Honda Integra of Ben Rushworth already making ground from the back of the grid. At the front of the grid it's Steve Sawley, his big rival in Class A, that leads towards turn one. Roger and Vella I think has come through into second position. Lots of Civics in the midfield, we can see Clios, Fiestas, Citroens and Peugeots as well, making up the bulk of the midfield. On board with Roger and Vella, he was second into Riches, he's still second-ish on the way down towards Wilson. He's on the inside line, but in the wet, that's not necessarily where the grip is. He does get out of the corner in front, though, of the car, I think Martin Ward, that was alongside him, so it's Sawley that leads the way. Vella is second. Now, Vella is 13 points behind Mike Winkworth in the outright championship, but they run in different classes. Now, you score points within your class, so it's wherever you finish in your class that is significant. So, at the moment, Vella in second place is chasing after Steve Sawley for the race lead, but they are not in the same class. Second place at the moment for Vella would be enough to win his class, and then it's all down to where Winkworth ends up. There's Ben Rushworth though, look at the way that he's carving his way up the order, diving to the inside line. That is a slightly wider and longer wheelbase than a lot of the other cars out there on the track, so that may well suit him quite well in these slippery conditions. There went Michael Winkworth in the little Citroen Saxo. Michael just needs to try and win his class and then hope for the best as far as Roger and Vella is concerned, and indeed Phil Wright, who's on a million miles back in the championship either. Ben Rushworth though all out of shape as they go through. Hamilton did a good job to gather that together. Brilliant car control there from Ben. And he dives back up the inside immediately on the case, trying to gain more ground. As I said, you score points within your class, so a lot of these people he's overtaking now aren't necessarily for championship position, it's championship points. It's he's going a bit further up the order so as to be fighting for meaningful positions, so to speak. And there's John Peerless dicing away with the 101 car of Oliver Barsby on the exit of the corner, and then Michael Winkworth in the Saxo drawing alongside, and the less powerful Class C cars may have a bit of an advantage actually, if anything, in these wet conditions. In the front of the field, Steve Sawley is coming under a lot of pressure from Roger and Vella, and although Roger doesn't need to overtake Steve as far as the championship is concerned, if he feels that Steve is holding him up or maybe running in the spray of the leading car is going to increase the risk of him going off himself, then he will feel that he can attack, that he needs maybe to attack here for the race lead. He had a little look up the inside at Coram, decided better of it though, waiting for a safer opportunity maybe in what are very slippery conditions, as you can imagine, for this first race of the weekend. There is Alistair Camp working his way through, so he's in fourth position at the end of the opening lap. They rush down across the start-finish line, that Tom Bell Racing prepared Ford Fiesta for sale, as you can see on the back of it. Let's hope that its one careful owner keeps it clean to the end of the race. And look who has arrived on his tail. Remarkably, from the back of the grid, Ben Rushworth is fifth already and going for fourth place up the inside down towards Rich's corner. The Honda's on the inside line and he's going through. Ben Rushworth, this is a champion's drive here from the back of the field after issues in qualifying. He'll just be hoping against hope now that there are no further problems with that car over the course of the next 10-12 minutes or so. Side by side for the race lead, meanwhile, Steve Sawley defending the inside line there from Roger and Vella on the outside. So Roger bringing Class B. Ben Rushworth, of course, is Class A, so he is in this battle for class honours with Rodron Vellas. The orange car that we're riding on board with now is Ben Rushworth's target, and Rodron has a really good exit from Palm, as there you can see he took the wider line into the corner, and that just gives you so much more speed on the exit, particularly in the wet conditions. He can't get to the inside of Sawley initially down the straight, but he's looking as they go into braking, doing more than looking up the inside. There's Ben Rushworth, who goes up the inside and takes third place. Look at that, brilliant driving this from Ben Rushworth. He's on the tail now, the leading two. We're not even a lap and a half into this one. Phenomenal stuff. Top 5 cars, though, pretty close together as they head towards Hamilton. It's already looking, though, like there's not going to be much they can do to stop the progress of Ben Rushworth here. He's onto the tail of Vella. Then it will be Steve Sawley that he starts to apply the pressure to, looking to the outside of Vella through Oggies, trying to find the grip on the exit, which he does. Carries good speed off the turn. They do touch there, and onto the grass goes Rushworth, but again does well to gather it all together, gets across to the inside line, and a wave there towards Rodron Vella, and Steve Sawley's around the outside of Sawley as well. Look at that, Ben Rushworth with one hand on the wheel almost there, went round the outside of Sawley. I think he was maybe taken aback by just how early Sawley braked into the turn, and with the grippier side of the road, Ben Rushworth completes this remarkable fight from the back of the grid to lead 2/3 of the way around the second lap. Sawley second, and Vella has lost third position, and that is, I think, to Martin Ward for class position as well. So Vella now losing points within his class 2. That will not help his outright championship hopes. Further back, I can see Michael Winkworth there in the white, yellow and black Citroen Saxo on the inside line, trying to gain or defend a position, not too sure. I think he was trying to defend a position there rather than attack the Renault Clio in front of him, which I think is Ryan Polly's Renault Clio, former Sax Max champion, of course. Yep, it is number 36 car, but there is Winkworth. Behind him in car number 11 is Ian Williamson, though, and that is for a class lead. So if Ian Williamson were to get through, he would then start taking some points away from the outright championship leader. Car in the barriers there, that's one of the Fiestas, unfortunately, that's gone off on the first lap. I believe Leon Shepherd, who didn't make it round to the end of the first lap of the race, but Michael Winkworth is making his way right around the outside of 2 of the cars that are in theory, quicker class than him. That is Ryan Polly's Class B Renault Clio, and then one of the Civics in there as well, which I think might be John Peerless. No, excuse me, no, it's not. It's Oliver Barsby. So these are 2 Class B cars that Winkworth's dicing with. But although you can run rings around them through the corners, particularly on the grippy outside line, if they get anywhere near as straight, the more powerful Class B cars do have the edge. Down into the braking zone they go. Winkworth still looking to the outside, but then that opens the door potentially for Ian Williamson to go to the inside of him, and they're not far behind him. Look, car number 28, that's Robert Fags. These are the top 3 cars in Class C, and they're absolutely nose to tail as they run back down towards the Wilson hairpin. They are certainly getting held up, I'd say, through the twisty and technical infield section by the Class B cars in front of them, who themselves are running side by side now. Ryan Polly goes to the outside of Oliver Barsby as Steve Sawley goes off. Steve Sawley from second position off the road down at Agostini, and he throws away a podium position. And well, Martin Ward, Rodron Vella, they will both go through. So too will Alistair Camp. And well, that was a disaster for Steve Sawley. He loses a position to several drivers, including, perhaps most significantly, his class contender, Martin Ward, because now not only is Ben Rushworth in front of Steve, but he's lost positions to cars within his class too, or a car within his class, so he's losing even more points now. Rushworth now leads Class A and looks set to win it, barring any mechanical dramas, whereas Sawley is down to third. Back here with the 21 machine of Michael Winkworth, though, the Class C leader, and he had already wrapped up that title as we arrived here at Snetterton. He's on 146 points arriving here, and Matt McCarthy, who's not here this weekend, is on 97, so there's no catching Michael Winkworth now. But he really is focusing just on the outright title this weekend. It's often the way with these multi-class series. It's not necessarily the cars that are winning the races outright that win the championship, because quite often midfield you've got someone who's dominating their class and they find themselves taking class victory after class victory and scoring maximum points. Ryan Polly defending hard now from the number 4 car of John Peerless. He was not that long ago dicing away with Oliver Barsby, who appears to have dropped down a couple of positions. Look, yes, because Michael Winkworth's gone past him as well now, so Barsby and the Civic struggling a bit, dropping down the order. There goes Winkworth through the bomb hole, taking that wide line through the right-hander to try and get some nice grip and nice momentum off the turn. This is the part of the circuit that suits that little Saxo, and with its much less powerful engine but therefore much more lightweight chassis, It's able to carry good mid-corner speed. Barsby is really backing up the rest of the Class C field as well, which is playing beautifully into the hands of Wingworth. Back through the worries, there is Robert Fagg in the 28 machine, as they try desperately to pull alongside that very psychedelic liveried Civic in front of them. Well, here is a Honda of a different kind, and it's Ben Rushworth, who really is a driver on a different planet here this morning at Snetterton. He is absolutely leaving the rest of them for dead. Second place is Martin Ward, third place now for Steve Sawley. So Steve Sawley has worked his way back ahead now of Roger Vella and Alistair Camp. So he's back into a podium position, but neither Vella or Camp are in his class, so he hasn't actually regained any points in doing that. The person he really needs to overtake is Martin Ward, because that would then give him second in the race and second in Class A as well. There's Vella, who is therefore still leading his class, leading Class B. So both he and Michael Winkworth are set to score the exact same number of points out of this race at the moment, except Michael Winkworth has set the fastest lap in his class, which would be worth a bonus point. So actually that gap that was 13 points at the moment is going to go out to 14 going into the final race. So it is still mathematically going to be possible for Roger and Vella to take the title, I believe, in race 2, but he will need to win his class and hope that Michael Winkworth had a bit of a disaster, really. Through Williams goes Vella, the car locking on the suspension slightly as it heads down the Bentley Straight in ever worsening conditions, I'd say. The levels of standing water are not getting better, are they? The racing line's not too bad, but if you venture off the racing line, you will be in very deep puddles indeed. Very deep water, because both literally and figuratively, because that's when you start aquaplaning and heading off the road. Quite possibly that's what happened to Steve Sawley down at Agostini a couple of laps ago when he threw away that second place. There was no catching Ben Rushworth anyway. I think Ben's just gone now. We have to accept that this is his race to lose, but Sawley was at least in second and under pressure from Martin Ward, but would have felt that he could have held on to it. He's now got to spend the remaining third of the race or so trying to close back in on his Class A competitor. Then this battle here for Class B honours going on behind. Fourth place overall, Alistair Camp starting to rise to the challenge here. He's right on the tail of Roger and Vella, who cannot really afford to lose this class lead. Roger really needs to keep Camp at bay. Alistair gets through, he'll start taking points away from Roger and Vella, and they are points that Roger can little afford to lose. Towards Rich as they go. Oh, Sawley's off against Steve Sawley off, and he aquaplaned straight across the grass and into the barriers. Forget aquaplaning, he had all four wheels off the ground, then he's into the barriers, and Steve Sawley's race is done. And potentially with it, his championship hopes in Class A. A non-finish will become one of his dropped scores, but I don't think that's going to be enough to keep the championship alive. This man, Ben Rushworth, although he may not know it yet, is now in a position, I think, to provisionally take the Class A championship. Well, it was a big old accident that for Steve Sawley as well. Let's hope that he's all right. Oops, that was a moment there for the 42 Honda Civic down at Agostini. That was Dawn Boyd, who gathers it all together, but Martin Ward now in second place has no one behind him, not at least close behind him, because Steve Sawley has just thrown his car at the scenery. So easy to do though. You lock up under these in these slippery conditions, you get on the grass, and then you're a passenger, and it's a fairly bumpy runoff zone there. As you saw, the car I think got all four wheels off the ground before it clattered into the barriers and then into the tyre wall as well. Let's hope there's not too much damage done to Steve Sawley's car, because if he can get out for the final race of the weekend, then you never know, there may still be a chance to win the championship in Class A. Depends on what happens to Ben Rushworth, I suppose, in this race. At the moment, Rushworth is set to score the maximum 16 points from this race, 15 for the win and 1 for the fastest lap. That would put him on to 119 points once you take the two worst scores into the equation. Steve Sawley will regain 2 points that he was previously dropping, so he will go on to 105. So yeah, that's not he's not going to be able to do it, is he? He's going to be too far back, I reckon. So Ben Rushworth should be about to do enough to provisionally wrap up the Class A championship, and therefore fourth in the championship outright as well. So now the question becomes, what can Roger and Vella do? Because he's leading his class at the moment, and lead it he must right until the end. He needs to win this class and hope that Michael Winkworth doesn't win in Class C. Trouble is that Ford Fiesta of Alistair Camp right behind Roger and Vella is trying to take the class lead away from him. Down towards the bomb hole they go, the orange Civic ahead of the white and blue and green and yellow Fiesta. As they work their way through the bomb hole, it looks as though Camp was a bit quicker through there. There's nowhere to go on the exit of the corner. Now he tries the high, wide and handsome line through Coram, and this could work for him. He's alongside, he's got the inside line down towards Murray's, and through he goes. So Alistair Camp takes third place in the race, but most significantly takes the Class B lead away from Rodram Vella. Alistair Camp is not a championship contender for Class B. He's not done all of the rounds this year, so for him, the championship doesn't matter. He's just out for some good results and some class victories to round the season out. And there's absolutely no reason why he should go easy on Rodram Vella. And indeed, he hasn't been. He's got past Rodram now and drops him down to second place in class. We're on to the final lap of the race, though, and as Dawn Boyd has just got a lap down to the second place car, Martin Ward. It is this fight for third that we'll watch, because Rodram Vella, if there is half a chance of getting back past Alistair Camp, and he could do with getting through. So again, if Winkworth were to win his class and he's got the fastest lap still, that would be worth 16 points. So 162 would be Winkworth's tally with a race to go. Rodram Vella for second position is only going to score 12 points, so he will go through on to 145. Meaning that he will be 17 points behind with 16 available. So essentially, unless Rodram Vella gets back ahead of Alistair Camp, that could be his overall championship hopes lost as well. That is, of course, all dependent on Michael Winkworth winning his class. Michael has got a few seconds in hand, though, over Ian Williamson and Rob Fagg, who are still second and third. With Ben Rushworth, though, as he works his way down the Bentley Straight, and he looks as though he's going to wrap up the Class A title here as long as the car gets home in one piece, and it has been a little temperamental at times this year. When it works, it's very quick and he wins more often than not, but he's had the odd mechanical drama as the season's gone on, and that really has plagued his season, but he's done a great job to bounce back every time, and if it breaks in qualifying, he always seems to be able to do exactly what he's done today and come through from the back of the grid to score a win or a podium at the very least. What we haven't necessarily seen that many times this year is quite the rate of progress that he made at the start of the race. That has to go down as one of the best first laps in motorsport history, because he came through from 28th on the grid to be 5th at the end of the opening lap. He led halfway round the next lap and he never looked back. It is another victory for Ben Rushworth. He takes the win in the penultimate round of the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship. The checkered flag is his and there is no one else in sight. Now, what is going on behind? Has Rodram Vella been able to attack Alistair Camp? I don't think he has. In fact, I think that ball of spray off in the distance is Alistair Camp. So Alistair has pulled away over the final lap. Whether Vella's had a moment somewhere, I'm not too sure. Either way, I reckon provisionally that might mean that the overall championship is going to go to Michael Winkworth. It's second place though for Martin Ward. Third place will go the way of Alistair Camp, and he will win in Class B with Rodram Vella fourth position, second in Class B. But is that enough to keep the championship alive? I'm not convinced it is. It's Rushworth though that takes the victory by, look at that, 29 seconds over Ward in second, Camp third, then Vella and Christian Lyon in fifth. Ryan Polly was sixth, Winkworth was seventh and did win his class, with Ian Williamson and Rob Fagg close for company. Well, 28 cars started the race, 24 in total managed to get to the end. We lost, of course, in spectacular fashion Steve Sawley. Also failing to finish was Sean Green, Leon Shepherd and Phil Wright. A great win for Rushworth though, and the Class A title is his.
Ben, you drove that race like you had a class championship in mind.
Yeah, I wasn't planning to because of the cars that have turned up. There's only 3 people in our class, so if I came dead last, I would have got third, and I think that still would have done it. But it's like I was saying earlier, like the Red Sea parted, and just the car just made my way through everyone, just trying to be safe and easy and using the outside lines, which no one seemed to be doing, and it just happened. Got to the last 5 from the back of the grid on the end of lap 1, and didn't really have to push. Just the car found the grip, and off we went.
Short shifting towards the end of the race just to keep the car in one piece and get to the end.
Yeah, the drive shafts failed in qualifying, so I'm on a set second hand almost, so I'm sort of just nursing the car for tomorrow, so I wasn't pushing too hard, but yeah, it's done the trick, and I'm really happy with the result today. It was a good race.
Congratulations, you can enjoy tomorrow's race.
Cheers.
Michael, what a result, overall champion in the Saxo.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Like, I never thought it would be possible, but we've done it in our first year, so yeah. I'd like to say a big thanks to Snetterton Work Tech and Reliable Rentals and all the other people that helped me out. I couldn't be more grateful for it.
And of course, it was bad weather out there. You were still chucking it around though and having to watch your mirrors as well.
Yeah, I'd sort of worked the points out, and I knew that I needed to get in the top 5 to secure the overall, and that was on my mind all the way round, but a win's a win, so I'll take that, definitely.
A win's a win, and today you could say you did the double.
Yeah, hopefully tomorrow's as good, but we'll see. Anything can happen, can't it? So yeah, thank you.
Well, race 1 of the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship saw this man, Ben Rushforth, take that Class A Championship victory from the back of the grid. So plenty of drama in race 1, and it's just gloves off again for race 2 because Roger and Vella took Class B. That's all the titles sewn up. It's just left to unleash these guys on the Snetterton 300 circuit. Let's go, Andy.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. The titles are decided. Let's put the calculators away and just enjoy some good, hard racing. It is Ben Rushworth and Martin Ward that make up row 1 ahead of Alistair Camp and Roger and Vella. Christian Lyon, Ryan Polly, Michael Winkworth and Ian Williamson are next ahead of Rob Fagg and Alex Tate rounding out the top 10. Then it's John Peerless and Oliver Barsby and the rest. Watch out for a couple of them coming from the back. Hopefully Steve Sawley has got his car repaired after his off down at Riches yesterday. If he has, he'll be taking the start from 25th and should be on to watch as he tries to move forwards. Well, much more pleasant conditions here today for the final round of the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship. A bone dry track, no championships to sort out. Let's go racing for the last time in 2018. A great start made by Ian Williamson there in the Class C Saxo, and he will move alongside Alistair Camp in his Class B Fiesta to certainly take the lead in Class C and almost move into the top 5 overall. Through the right-hander at Riches they all go. Rushworth it is that leads the way. Everyone else just trying to pick their way through behind. There's Steve Sawley, so he has got the car out there, the white and grey Civic on the outside line going through. Riches already passed about 6 or 7 cars or so at least going through the first corner. Through the right-hander at Wilson they go. Alex Tate there dicing away with Ryan Polly, and Alex Tate started 10th on the grid. Ryan Polly started 6th, so either Alex has had a good start or, as I suspect might be the case, the slightly less powered Clio of Polly has dropped down the order slightly. And the head of the field, look, Martin Ward is going for the race lead. He's on the inside of Ben Rushworth, and through he goes. Well, Ben Rushworth, who dominated yesterday, came through the field in miraculous fashion from the back of the grid to win by nearly 30 seconds. Has just been overtaken by Martin Ward. Is there a problem for Rushworth, or is he maybe just waiting till the tyres come up to temperature before he really unleashes all of the performance that we know that car has? Well, in this race, it's Steve Sawley who's making Ben Rushworth-like progress up the field. Look at that, goes to the outside of the champion-elect, Michael Winkworth, who is at the moment running 2nd in class. The next target is the orange Saxo. That's Ian Williamson, the Class C class leader. And Steve Sawley, as we heard Ben Rushworth saying earlier on, only 3 Class A cars here this weekend. Ben, Steve and Martin Ward as well. So I suppose it's not that surprising that they're able to make progress up the order, but still carving a way through the narrowest of gaps in the early stages. That really does take some doing. Down onto the bridge they go then. This is Williamson's view from the lead of Class C as he drops down the gears through the left, through the right. Very easy to lose the rear of the car there. You're braking on a turn through the left-hander and it's bumpy. Then you've got to throw it to the right again through Nelson. And on cold tyres in these short wheelbase front-wheel drive cars, it's easy to lose the rear. Alex Tate, though, unfortunately has lost all drive going into the bomb hole by the looks of it, and Tate pulls off to the side of the road, and the U-shaped Fiesta is grinding to a halt. Now let's hope that he can get that out of the way so that they don't require a safety car. It doesn't look as though he will be able to, though. He's flicked the hazard lights on, and the car is just sort of bouncing its way very slowly across the grass. Not going so slowly though, the leading 2, Martin Ward and Ben Rushworth, who are side by side for the lead that time in towards Riches. It's Ward that leads the way, Rushworth 2nd, Vella 3rd. Into 4th place, look, is Christian Lyon, the green car, with Steve Sawley's tank tape special in 5th. So from the back to 5th, that's exactly what Rushworth did in race number 1. He went from the back of the grid to 5th at the end of the opening lap, but Steve Sawley a little bit further behind the leaders than Rushworth was. Nice move made up the inside there by the number 63 machine to gain a place at Rich's corner. That's Phil Wright, also coming through from the back of the grid, and he got up the inside of the number 14 of David Sadowski then. For the lead of the race, though, it's Honda versus Honda. It's Civic versus Integra, and it's the Integra DC2 of Ben Rushworth that dives to the inside line. Really nice move there on the brakes in towards Agostini. He's got everything warmed up now to where he wants it. He runs a bit wide on the exit, though, moment, so Ward tries to fight back on the run towards Hamilton. He's got the inside line. Is he brave enough to try and throw it through? No, he can't quite get there, so Rushworth goes through. That was a peach of a move there, a last-minute look at the inside. He maybe expected that Martin Ward would fight that a bit harder and defend the inside line, but perhaps Martin succumbing to the inevitable there. Ben Rushworth, we know, has awesome speed in the wet or the dry this weekend at Snetterton, and already he's starting to get away. It is a fabulous looking car, that, and when Ben is driving it on the limit, it really is a joy to watch. He's a very all elbows driver. Oops, over the grass in the background there, that was Steve Sawley, and I don't think he lost a place. I think he's still fourth because he's found a way now ahead of Christian Line, but that was an agricultural route through Palmer's. Of course, we saw him off the road twice yesterday in the first race. Once was a harmless run on down at Agostini. The next time he went off, though, had slightly bigger consequences. Alistair Camp there we're seeing now getting onto the tail of Christian Line as he turns his way through the right-hander. This is for position within the class as well. Both of these are Class B runners. It's, of course, Roger Vella who's leading the Class B runners at the moment on the way up the road. Towards Murray's once again they go. Well, in yesterday's race we got 6 laps, and we should get an extra one I think today, with the pace being significantly quicker. Fastest lap, just to give you an idea of that. Oh, hang on, I'm trying to interrupt myself because I've had a change for the lead again. Rushworth has gone back behind Martin Ward. So Martin Ward had gone through, Ben Rushworth had gone through against Martin Ward, as we saw at Agostini, and all of a sudden, by the time they get to the end of the lap, it's Ward back in front. So not entirely sure what happened there, but yes, back to my point about fastest laps. Ben Rushworth, yesterday, his fastest lap of the race was a 2:32.18. Well, already in this race, we're down in the 2 minute 6, 2 minute 7 second bracket. So we're knocking quite a lot of time off the lap times, as Martin Ward, having lost the lead again out of our sight, unfortunately, appears to have lost an engine in fairly spectacular fashion, and the Honda Civic bounces its way across the grass, but he had briefly got that lead back, but by the time we rejoined them at Palmer's, the car was potentially already expiring, and that allowed Rushworth to retake the race lead. So Rushworth goes back through. Alistair Camp is now up ahead of Christian Line, so that is a move for second within Class B now for the Fiesta man. And he starts now to try and pull away and go after Roger Vella, the class leader, for the final class victory of the season. There is Roger Vella. He's just been overtaken by Steve Sawley, so Steve Sawley now goes into second position behind Ben Rushworth, of course, with the demise of Martin Ward. Then it's Camp and Line next through. And Alistair Camp not exactly racing away. He's all over the curbs there, coming through Nelson. Very nearly flipped the car onto its side. I've seen it done there before. I've seen more Fiestas do it down there before. They're very stiffly sprung little things, and very short wheelbase as well. Often the rear suspension in particular is very stiff to try and kill any understeer. Oh, Michael Winkworth's been off now, so is this a problem or a moment that he's had somewhere? I think the car is still going slowly. Yes, he's pulling off, so, well, what good fortune for Michael Winkworth that he wrapped the title up yesterday, because had it gone down to the wire, had Roger and Vella won his class maybe, then we could have been talking about maybe Michael Winkworth not being the champion, because, of course, remember, at the moment, Vella is leading his class in Class B, and a class victory might have been all it took. So Michael Winkworth will be very, very pleased that he got the job done yesterday, which means that a non-finish today isn't quite so disastrous. It's still not the way that he wanted to round out his championship, but at least it's not going to cost him the championship, and that really is the main thing. Back with Christopher Line here as he tries to Christian Line, excuse me, as he tries to chase after Alistair Camp ahead of him through Palmer's corner, named after circuit owner Jonathan Palmer. They're both being caught, though, by the next car behind them, which I think might be Leon Shepherd, is it? It's Phil Wright, excuse me. Phil Wright, number 63, is the next car making a move, also running in Class B. So these are 3 Class B cars now getting themselves together, fighting over 2nd, 3rd and 4th in class, which is 3rd, 4th and 5th overall. Back up towards the left-hander at Hamilton's, then the right-hander at Oggies, and it's definitely that blue and yellow car number 63 of Phil Wright that looks the quickest here. He's caught up to Christian Line, and now he's trying to get up the inside, takes the tighter line out of Oggies, looks to the inside down towards Williams, sticks his nose in the door. They almost rub panels. I think the passenger side wing mirror on Phil Wright's car gets knocked out of line. You won't be able to see anything down the left-hand side of his car now, and out onto the grass goes Christian Line, but Wright does go through. It was a forceful move. There wasn't significant contact made between the two of them, a bit of paint trading maybe, but racing, as they say. That's certainly going to be the motto that Phil Wright has when he's questioned about it post-race. Now he sets off after Alistair Camp, whilst the red mist descends quite visibly for Christian Lyon, who I don't think fully appreciated that manoeuvre, and he's doing everything he can to get back on terms with the similar car. They're both running Honda Civics, both the same era of Civic as well. Well, there's more smoke now. Where's that coming from? That's coming from Alistair Camp. Oh, another engine's gone, and this time it's the Tom Bell racing car. They're usually fairly bulletproof, these cars, and Alistair Camp, unfortunately, with fluid, I think maybe coming onto his own tyres, is surely going to have to head to the pit lane. But Alistair Camp, from second in Class B, unfortunately, he's out of the race. It's been a bit of a race of attrition for a few high-profile runners in this one. Both Martin Ward and Alistair Camp, running inside the top 5, have both had pretty spectacular engine failures within a couple of laps of each other. Oh, back down towards Wilson then goes this slightly depleted Class B field. Meanwhile, we check in on some of the Class C runners. Class C at the moment, Ian Williamson, I believe, is leading the way, but there's a nice battle going on here. This is Robert Fagg in the 28 car, who was third in Class C yesterday, and he is trying desperately to defend from the blue Class B Renault Clio of Callum Hoochin behind him. They may be in different classes, but they're two similar shaped and similar speed cars, clearly. So they're going to fight for position. Why on earth not? Back down towards the right-hander at Oggies they go, and the 28 car pulling away again now. Again, the slightly less powerful cars tend to have a bit of an edge through the corners, because to make more power, you need a bigger engine. And if you have a bigger engine, you're probably going to carry a bit more weight. So the more powerful cars maybe are a bit heavier, a bit more cumbersome through the corners, but then they get out onto the straight and they start to reel in some of the less powerful cars with a slipstream to help him as well. Callum Hoochin is definitely closing here on Rob Fagg. Under the bridge they're about to go. He can't quite get there in time though. So Fagg will get into Rumble and Nelson first. Does he come out of it first? Looks like he will. Clips the curb, runs a bit wide on the exit, but not overly. And so the Citroën stays ahead of the Clio. Real battle of the French automobile makers here as they chase down one of the Honda Civics. I think that's John Peerless in front of them in his invitational class Honda Civic. Doesn't quite meet the regulations, but still allowed to race. Well, down towards Richards comes this battle between Hoochin and the 28 machine of Rob Fagg, and Hoochin seemed to slow a bit there, going in towards Richards. Picks the speed up again on the exit, maybe just was thinking about going up the inside and then realised that maybe it was best to back out of it. The leader of his class, is Roderick Vella. Roderick Vella leading in Class B, third place overall. He's not the race leader because Ben Rushworth fairly handsomely is the race leader now from Steve Sawley in second. Steve, well, his fastest lap is some 4 seconds slower than the leader Ben Rushworth, but it's still a couple of seconds quicker than Roderick Vella in the Class B car can do. Roderick, who was under an awful lot of pressure from Alistair Camp in yesterday's race. The same not true of this one. Even before Camp had his spectacular engine blow up, he was nowhere near Roger Vella, so Vella was looking good in the dry conditions to take the class victory anyway. He will be rueing a few lost points from earlier on in the season, though, having seen Michael Winkworth out of the race in this one. And he'll be wondering whether or not maybe, had he had a bit more good fortune earlier on in the season, he could have been champion at the end of it rather than Michael. Well, Ben Rushworth is already, provisionally at least, crowned the Class A champion, and he's going to finish the job here with another race victory. It would seem we're on the final lap of the season here for the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship, and Ben Rushworth in sublime fashion has really driven wheel perfectly. It was only the car that let him down in qualifying yesterday. Both in the wet conditions yesterday afternoon and the drier conditions today here for the final round, he has been imperious, and Martin Ward, whilst he ran him pretty close actually in the early stages of this race, you would have to say that Rushworth was probably the favourite to take the victory, and he is now less than half a lap away from doing just that in the final round of the 2018 Championship, the Hot Hatch Championship, though the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship continuing to go from strength to strength, and we look forward immensely to see what 2019 has in store for us. It'd be nice to see a few more of the Class A cars maybe making their way out there. But nonetheless, it's been a fantastic season of racing in the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship, and Ben Rushworth, a deserving Class A champion. He's already had 8 class victories. This will be his 9th class victory if he gets through the final corner in one piece, which I'm sure he will. Turns to the left-hander, towards the checkered flag. Another class victory to sew up the championship in Class A in style for Ben Rushworth. He sees the checkered flag, and wins the final round of the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Championship here from Snetterton, and he's going to win by almost as much as he did yesterday. The winning margin yesterday over Martin Ward was 29 seconds. Well, it's got to be getting on for 25 seconds or so over Steve Sawley in second place in this one. Well, here is confirmation of the result then. Rushworth wins by 24 3/4 seconds over Sawley in second. Vella in third wins Class B, ahead of Phil Wright, Christian Lyon, Leon Shepherd, Oliver Barsby, John Peerless and Ryan Polly. The Class C victory, by the way, went to Ian Williamson in 10th position, with Rob Fagg in 14th, finishing second in the class. And of course, Michael Winkworth, one of several high-profile retirements from that one, unfortunately. Alistair Camp and Martin Ward, in particular, from inside the top 5 overall, both finishing their race in similarly spectacular fashion.
Ben, what a battle you were having in the start of that race.
Yeah, I've just stuck on a brand new set of front tyres, so the grip balance was not quite right, so the handling was kind of reminiscent of last year's problems, so I had to wait for the fronts to go off a bit by pushing them, or the rears to come in, which I started to do, and unfortunately Martin seemed to blow in his engine because we were having a great little dogfight, and his car's really quick in a straight line. He knows the circuit because it's his local circuit, and yeah, so it was a great fight until it sort of went poof in the mirrors. But then I just tucked in and concentrated on lap times because I had the lap record in mind.
It was certainly qualifying pace out there for you. You pulled up a massive gap.
Yeah, I was just head down. It was clear track, so just go for it because it was the last thing to end the year on a high. And yeah, I think we've done lap records every circuit we've been to. So.
And I think you met the brief. That's a high place to end the season, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm chuffed with that. Thank you very much.
Ian, it always seems to spread out the hot hatch class on these big circuits, but you were certainly having a good fight out there to begin with.
Yeah, I managed to get a good start. We were quite up the grid from the rain race from yesterday, so that helped massively. And then I managed to keep ahead of the Class B, quite a few of the Class Bs, which was really good. And then it was just a matter of when they were coming up right at the end, just giving them a bit of space to come through on the straights. And yeah, just trying to keep it nice and clean and bring it home.
Always good to end the season with a bit of shrubbery around your neck.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. The last we've had some really bad luck this year, so to finish the last 3 events with 3 podium in all of the races and 3 race wins, couldn't ask for any more, really.
Well done.
Thank you.
Roger, what a race that was for you, and what a weekend it's been as well with the Class B victory.
Yes, finally a good weekend after some bad luck in the second half of the season. The pressure was a bit off today since I won the championship yesterday, so thought I'd get a win to end up the season. So
You're certainly chucking it around out there. You're having fun.
yes, it was all about fun today.
Congratulations, Class B champion.
Thanks a lot.